right, you guys, welcome back. It's Tuesday night. Tuesday night, and I'm Cammie, if you don't know.
I'm Kathy.
And we are here, just excited. I'm loving it.
Super.
Yeah. I mean, we have the best guests in the world, I swear.
We always.
Always. Last week, Jodie Foster with her amazing story. Oh, my heck.
Yeah, I was at a funeral, so I missed that one, but...
It was awesome, though. She watched it, and it was really cool. So
it was, oh man, her story's phenomenal.
I know. I just can't.
Scary.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. Just the possibilities of things that, just opened up. The different doors and things, and just ideas. It gives people food for thought, I think.
I think so.
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Mm-hmm. And that was fun. And we want to say thanks to Kim for filling in for Cassie.
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it.
And welcome Cassie back. So, yay. Cassie and Kim. Anyways, we have a great show tonight for you guys. Just a great show. If you guys are here, get in chat, start talking. We want to hear questions. We want to have this interactive thing going on because our guest is the brilliant and the always entertaining Johm Tobin from, God, you know what? I could start listing names of things that he does, and I don't know if I'd ever run out of stuff.
Probably not.
Probably not.
If you could remember them all.
I know. I'm like, okay, let's tick them off. Okay, so there's the Glory Hot Hounds. There's all the Paracons. There's Investigating. There's Historian. I mean, just
radio, his own radio.
A couple of them.
Radio personality.
Yeah. So he's got a couple radio shows.
Busy guy.
Busy guy. And so, he was awesome enough and kind enough to come and take time out and talked with us and you guys. So get in chat. Let's talk, okay? And without further ado, we'd like to say welcome to Johm Tobin. Welcome, John.
Hey, how are you guys?
We're doing good,
We're doing really, really good.
How are you?
I'm excellent. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
We do. I mean, okay. So I sat and I thought, where are we going to start with Mr. Tobin? Because there's so much.
Right.
I mean, where in the world? So I'm going to just kind of backtrack. We're going to start back at the beginning with you, John. And I'm going to ask you how in the world you got involved in the paranormal.
Well, that is going way back for me. I would say that, to accurately answer that question, I really got started in the paranormal when I was about 3 or 4 years old with the experiences that I had. I had experiences as a very small child. I had a very... I would say, I guess you could say traumatic type childhood where a lot of things happened that were not so good. And I had some very distinct and unusual paranormal experiences as a young child, probably from 3 to 6 or 7.
Wow.
And at the time, I had no idea that these were paranormal or not even normal. I thought they were some, I thought it was bad. I had nobody tell me that they were anything other than normal situations. So,
right.
I thought all kids experience the same things. I thought it was normal. I started telling people about this stuff, and they started looking at me like there was something wrong, or they didn't believe me, and had an active imagination. So, I would have really a lot of body type experiences, and I would float above myself and look down upon myself, and I could see all of my various family members. And
wow.
Yeah, and I could recall word-for-word conversations that people would have in the completely opposite end of the house that I was in at the time, even outside of my house. And I would repeat the stuff, and they would just be dumbfounded that I must have been coming out of my room when they didn't see me, and I was hiding, and all this stuff. And I never ever left my bedroom when this stuff would happen.
Wow.
So that's really how it started for me. And when I connected back in my early 20s, that this stuff, after actually being exposed to some of this stuff on shows like In Search of, Leonard Nimoy way back in the late 70s, early 80s. As a teenager, I started watching some of this stuff, and it sort of developed this interest in that. And then in my early 20s, I saw something on one of the shows. It might have been Unsolved Mysteries or Paranormal, one of these shows.
All good ones.
All good ones.
It was something about out-of-body experiences. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, wow, I didn't really think about that. And so that's really where it started. Once I saw that, then I started obsessively researching this sort of stuff and finding out that it was being considered a paranormal experience. And then I started really, some of the stuff that happened when I was 2 was really coming back because I saw this connection that I hadn't really thought about in years, or seen in years. So that really connected the paranormal side of these that's how the really paranormal interest really kicked in for me. And I've used that interest to develop it with my other big passion in my life, which is history, and I've tried to connect the two together.
Right.
So, but that's to go back to really answer the question, really as a small child and realizing that it was actually paranormal is what started my obsession with this whole crazy world that we're all obsessed with, I guess.
Right. That's fascinating.
I agree. I mean, seriously, that would be, to most people, like you were saying, it would be scary, but you didn't know otherwise. I mean, I would, right now, I'd be like, holy shit, I'm floating above my body. If I ever did that, I would,
give me back, give me back.
I'd wonder if I was dead, or did I die, or something like that, or, I don't know. That'd be kind of scary. You know, when you did this, did you, like, astral project to other places, or did you just, like, roam around your house?
No, honestly, I go as far as the edge of my driveway.
Mm-hmm.
My whole exterior of the yard, but I could never get any. I didn't actually try. I don't remember, but I could never leave the premises of my house. And when this would happen, like if this happened now, you're right. I would assume that if I was looking down upon myself, that I was either dreaming or dead. Or way long before that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, start taking them off, because holy crap.
Well, think about it. As a small kid, you don't, at 3 years old, you know not to go past this certain point of the yard. So it would make sense that he wouldn't leave the yard.
That's a really good point. Have you tried it in your adult years?
No one's ever asked me that, but I'm glad you did ask me that. And most people who know me probably don't know this either, but yeah, I have, and I've never been successful. And what it would simply be, for me, I think the reason why it doesn't work is because I'm trying, and I never... Well, you know what I mean? I never tried before. I would just lay down in my bed and just look at the ceiling, and it's not what happened. I would have, like, no control over what happened and what wasn't going to happen. Either would or wouldn't. And generally figured by some dramatic experience or something really negative happening. So weirdly enough, this is classified as not a body type of extreme kind of haunting, but a very positive nature for me. This was really escape from reality. This was, as a child, this is one of the only memories that I really had as a young child that was really fun and positive that I actually enjoyed. So for me, the paranormal was a very positive experience when I realized what was that is considered paranormal. And I really, just really, I kind of lived for that experience. So it was kind of, paranormal sort of saved my life in a weird sort of way. So I guess I do what I can to get back to it now as an adult. But yeah, I never was able to recreate that as an adult.
Huh. That's interesting.
How many places would we go if we could do that?
Hawaii. That's easy. Hawaii.
Really? I'm thinking like Egyptian. I'm going to Egypt.
I guess that would be one. Italy.
Oh gosh, Italy in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I mean, if you couldn't feel like the temperature or
I don't like the heat. I don't do the heat. I don't do heat.
Yeah. So, anyways, Hawaii. That's my vote.
Where would you go if you could astral project anywhere?
Oh boy. I love Ireland. All my ancestors are from Ireland. I've been there once and I loved it. I mean, maybe there, but in the summer it's beautiful. I would astral project to the Powerball lottery office. Forward in time a day after the drawing, get the numbers, and then...
Wait. You can't astral project.
Travel.
Yeah, you can't astral project into time and,
if that's the case,
future.
I'm going back to, meet Abraham Lincoln.
Wait a second, you say you can't astral project in time travel because why? Because you've done this before and you know, right?
Well, I was told I'm a really good astral projector. I just don't remember doing it. I don't know.
So I'm going to go on a limb and say in my astral projection I can time travel too, so there.
Okay, well, you got us.
Crap, I need to start thinking outside the box.
Well, my first thought is, meet the pharaohs, do all that. But I thought, oh, wait, that's back in time. I'm going, But that's smart.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'm going to take a page from your book, and I'm going to say I can go into the future as well.
Right.
I'm just going to do it. I took the leap. I feel good.
Right.
It feels good. Okay, so we're going to get back to you and your paranormal stuff. So you astral projected you're bringing it all back to the paranormal because it really helped you, you know. And how did you form a team? I mean, you have teams. You have this career that you do. You create events and organize events, and you do radio shows, and you're basically everywhere. I mean, where did that whole process begin? What did you do?
Well, after about 20 years or so of just independent research, and by that I mean I literally would, every spare moment I had where I was going anywhere, anytime I would make plans to do anything, it would always be to find out or investigate or research the legends of the history of the ghosts or spirits or energy in different areas. So I planned vacation all around where the hot spots were, things like that. I did that for many years, and then about 3.5 years ago or so, about close to 4 years now, I moved out to New York. I had a life change, and I actually met Kathy, who shared an interest in the paranormal. And my previous life situation, there wasn't really that interest wasn't really there. At least it wasn't there to push me to do other things other than just casual research. So about 4 years ago or so, I decided, you know what? I went, all these paranormal teams are popping up everywhere, and it was kind of like, all right, just like everybody else, I watched a lot of shows and stuff like that, and I thought, well, I've done this on my own, but maybe I could get a lot more accomplished if I joined one of these teams. And so about 4 years ago, I joined a team out here in the Albany area, and the first time I'd done anything other than my independent stuff, and I found out, probably after a year and a half of doing that I'm way more of a leader than a follower.
Right.
And I found this out because when my interests, the reasons why I do this differed so drastically from the person that was leading that team that I had to break away from it. And what I mean by this is he was not a lover of history like I am. He was out to prove that the paranormal existence was, he was out to scientifically prove it somehow that ghosts exist and all these things, and he was very much into a lot of conspiracy theory and things like this. I mean, it's all great stuff, and I have no problem with that, and I certainly would love to be able to put a scientific explanation behind all this stuff that we know is out there that we haven't been able to technically prove, but it wasn't my focus. My focus was really on historical places and history, and I've always made that connection. And he came to the point where he would actually insult these places, and he called them the glory haunts. He would say, that place has been on TV, and everybody knows about that, and so what? You paid a couple bucks to go there, and I'm like, he didn't get what that gives back to history when we are able to raise funds for a location or do this and that and preserve these great buildings and keep them from going away and falling apart and being torn down and all that stuff. He didn't see the beauty in that, and the I guess the what am I trying to say? How important that is. I guess
right.
Is what I'm basically trying to say. So we split away, and I thought, well, I'm going to do my own thing because this is something I should have done a long time ago. And as much as I guess I could do independent research without having a team, I sort of brand it a little bit, and I wanted to make the show. I kind of wanted to show in my own way what teamwork can do if it's done the right way. And so I wanted to bring on some people to work with me and that understood my vision and would back me up on this and help me to achieve those goals. As far as organizing events and things like that, you need some behind-the-scenes people to help out with that stuff. So that was kind of behind that. And the name Glory Haunt Hounds came basically just from what we were talking about a minute ago. The Glory Haunts. It was an insult to him to say that. He was making fun of the historical locations. So I thought, what a better way to come up with a team name and to use the word glory haunt, and then hounds, or which are dogs that sing about things and look for stuff.
You know what? I love that.
Love it.
It was everything I took. I could just muster up to shut my mouth and not crack up when you were saying that, because I'm like, I know where this is going.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You've got some wit.
And I was also determined, in my own sort of mind, I'm like, okay, how am I going to have a paranormal group without, that is paranormally based? I consider my group more like a historical preservation group that has a paranormal twist, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Yes, we do post investigations, but the focus is history and how it relates to paranormal.
Well, that's really where it's at, too. I mean, you have to be able to research. You have to do that historical stuff.
Right. Well, and to preserve the history is just... It's amazing because there's not a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, but there's not enough people out there that care to preserve the history, the buildings itself, the land, the monuments.
Excuse me.
There's not enough people out there.
Well, I think
that like to go to those buildings, but they don't care if they, they don't care to actually get behind any of it.
Right,
They
right.
want to get involved, and so that's why there are some great organizations that what Glory Hunt Hounds does. That's why I'm proud to do this. We do everything we do towards the location, and the vast majority of all the proceeds we make go back to that, and that's he is giving back because history's given so much to us.
Oh, yeah.
If we didn't have the history, none of us would have anything to do. Even those private locations, I mean, still without the history behind what paranormal investigating is, what historical buildings do, there's really nothing to base it on. It all comes back to that. So that's what the Glory Hunt Hounds really is.
I love it. And I think that also, you were saying not a lot of people really care to preserve these sites.
Right.
I think that in a lot of, I guess, instances, they don't care until it's almost too late.
Or
so
it
it's
is
like,
too late.
It's like the whole, saving of it is just so far out of reach because it's just so dilapidated. I think, like you were saying, this history is so important, and preserving these things is important. But let's do it before it gets to the point where the bricks are falling out of the mortar.
Right, and the buildings, sideways.
The
and you
windows
can't go
are
in,
wood, and, you can't even put a new one in,
Right, it's important.
That's going to be my crusade for 2014 is just preventing urban decay. And that's what it's about, preventing that from happening.
I love it.
Well, it's cheaper to keep up on it than it is to fully restore.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you know what? Sometimes completely restoring a building takes away some of the history and the charm of it,
Oh, yeah.
If you keep the building functional, operational, and even if its only use is for paranormal research, if it's being used and you're able to keep it open and that's great. It doesn't have to be restored to make it look like a new building. That's not really the point. Right. People think, we don't have the money to make it to clear all the wall, every little nook and cranny of the building and make it. That's fine. That's the point is let's keep the walls standing. Let's keep the building if it needs heat, things like that.
Right.
Those are really important things to preserve the history of the location.
Yeah, don't do a Band-Aid. Do a real job, but keep the historic value and persona of the building. I think it's really important. I love historical buildings, and they're phenomenal.
There's companies out there that try to pull the wool over your eyes by saying, we're doing a great service to history because we're turning this great building into like condominiums or something.
No.
They don't get it.
Yeah.
No.
So,
not at all.
There's nothing historical about turning some great institution into a bunch of condos. That doesn't,
Yeah,
well,
I
see, that's
agree.
where the money is, though. I mean, if it's going to be fixed up, somebody with the money to do it and can see the value of doing it, that's what's going to happen, It's reality.
Right. Well, because, a lot of people don't really care about that big old empty building with 5 flights,
Well, my favorite is when they go and they take a big location like that, turn it into condos, and it's really haunted.
It gives us a lot of business. Well, not business, a lot of clients.
Everyone's scared then.
You know what? It's funny. They build the condos to keep people like me and you out of the buildings, and then they have to call us anyway because they have. So.
That's right.
Exactly,
right.
but this way, so it may be a plus because this way we'd have heat and air conditioning.
Oh, air conditioning and heat. I tell you what.
That's a whole new life for me. I didn't look at it that way.
We go for the simple pleasures of life.
I know. Well, we've been in enough buildings freezing our butts off, sitting in a corner curled up against the space heater that's ran from the generator outside to inside to know the value of that.
Right, 21 degrees.
Like it's so cold when your EVP questions turn to, if you're in the room with me, can you turn the heat on, please?
Been there.
I know, or it's like, it's so hot, will you please make a cold spot?
Yeah, please come consume me. Stand closer.
I know. I'll let you grab my butt. Anyway. Okay, maybe that was too far, but still, it was funny.
I loved it.
Okay, so Glory Haunt Hounds. You did it because somebody made a dig at your Glory Haunt hounding.
Right.
And then you're organizing events now, right?
Yeah, I just thought, that, you know, I had a very distinct vision for what I wanted to do, and the vision was there for years, and I just never did it. You know, I could blame it all day. I could blame it on the person that I was with at the time holding me back, but in reality, you know what? It's me. I was holding myself back, and I never did the things that I knew that I wanted to do, that I needed to do, and now I'm finally doing that stuff the last few years. So the Glory Hunt Hounds really are a preservation awareness group, and it came out of a dream of mine. And you know, I met some great people, and we decided. I told them, like, this is my vision. If you back me up on this, if you agree with me, then let's work together. And then that's how we formed that group. You know, and since then we've started a few years ago doing just a few events and doing some meetups and things like that. And they took off, and then you know, now, you know, we've come to do the Parahistory Con to raise awareness on that by surrounding the theme of the Paracon around the parahistory. And I've done something that I used to do years ago, lecturing. I started doing that again a couple years ago, and that's been going great. So I'm slowly but surely trying to get the message out there, and it's been working pretty well. Our events have been very successful, and people seem to get it when they come out. You know, and we talk to them. You know, if they walk away with a truer or better appreciation or understanding of what the location is and why it's still there and why it's so important, then we've done our job. And it doesn't matter to me that they're coming out for the thrill of a ghost hunt. That's great. As long as they're coming out and willing to listen and willing to participate, then however we got them there is indifferent. But they've learned something at the end of the day, and that's when we know we've done our job right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's so true. I mean, it's all, a lot of people do it for different reasons, but in the end, you know, we're all here for similar reasons, you know? I mean,
Right. Basic main goal.
yeah, you know, we all want to have, you know, you come out, you want to ghost hunt, which is always good, but then you also get an awesome piece of history with that, and you get to be in an awesome location.
Right.
One of which I know that you guys are doing an event really, really soon at is Penhurst. Oh,
Oh,
my
yeah.
word, that place.
Oh man.
Every
I'm
time
in
I
awe
see,
of
I
that
know.
place.
Every time I see pictures and stuff like that of that place, I just want to go there.
Jump in the picture.
I do. I mean, it's
Ooh,
like so
maybe we
beautiful.
could, like, astral project there.
Oh, you know what? Let's do it. Meet you there tonight at like midnight, Mountain Standard Time, okay? I do. I want to go there, I think, because we've got some friends
yeah.
out there, and we've had them on the show as well, talking about that location. And it reminds me a lot of our place.
Yeah.
Just it's on our place is on a
Smaller scale.
smaller scale, less buildings.
More compact.
Yeah. But it's still, I mean, the
Big, but
history there is just amazing.
Huge. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The history is amazing. You know, it's funny because some people might say, okay, I understand that you want to preserve buildings and historical locations like forts and places that have significant history. Why asylums? Why is it important to keep these buildings open? Well, let me explain why I think it is. Yes, they were places like Penhurst, and I don't know, I'm not that familiar with the place out where you guys are, but probably the same. They're places of great sorrow and horrible
Right.
people mistreated and abuse and terrible things. And some might think, well, let's get rid of these buildings because who wants to remember that horrible stuff? Well, I can understand why they would say that, and I agree. We don't, you know, the reason we need to remember this stuff is that A, it is part of our history, and B, the people that were mistreated and the people that went through this stuff, okay, there's a story to be told there.
Right.
And just because the place has this history of bad things happening, there were a lot of people in unfortunate circumstances and children and things like that. They deserve to be remembered and their stories told, even if the building isn't of a pleasurable memory for them.
Right.
It's a significant place in our history, and it should still be there as a reminder for what we did wrong as a society.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, the Penhurst itself, what happened with them, you know, it pretty much made a movement into helping people with disabilities, with mental disabilities, with different things like that. It made a movement.
Yeah, to help get better facilities.
To get better facilities, better help, to understand somebody's mind, whether, you know, they had Down syndrome or different things like that, you know, different type of disabilities. Instead of... You know, it made a movement, you know. Well, it took a long time, but it happened.
It's so easy for society to just take a big pencil eraser and erase those kind of places away and pretend like it didn't happen. But that's not, you know, I think there's an important lesson to be learned when places like Penhurst are preserved to remind us of what we did wrong so we don't repeat it.
Right.
We remember how far we've come in certain areas. Now, a lot of times we look back and go, boy, you know,
this has happened for hundreds of years and we haven't made any progress. Well, here you go. Here's a prime example of how we've made great progress as a society.
Right.
So there are many reasons besides the paranormal aspect of why these buildings should exist. And of course, with great tragedy and traumatic circumstances and all that energy that buildings like Penhurst have had throughout the years, certainly is a great amount of paranormal activity. So it helps us do our research too. So of course we want the buildings open for our paranormal research, but there are so many reasons other than that why it's important to keep any of these great old asylums and buildings and state schools and things like that preserved.
I'm completely on board with that. I agree 110%.
Absolutely.
It has history. Even if it's a negative history, it's a reminder, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. I do too. You know, and I like the paranormal aspect too. And I think that a lot of times that we forget about the people. You know, they died, sure, but you know what? They're still there. Some of them are still there.
Some of them are still there.
And they need to be, like you said, their story needs to be told. You know, so hopefully someday they won't be there, you know?
Well, with enough evidence together, you can put the pieces.
Well, I don't know about, you know, as far as like evidence and proof and anything. I think that in our community, majority of us, you know, believe in that kind of stuff. But it's so hard to be like, this is definitive proof.
Oh, gosh, never.
But majority of people, I think, believe in it.
If nothing else, by the paranormal community going out there and talking to these people with respect and care and wanting to know what they've done and wanting to know how they can help, if they can pass on messages, it's probably the first time in the lives of some of these people that they've heard people come out compassionately and talking to them like they're people. They never had that in life.
Right.
So, the paranormal community can be doing a really positive thing here by visiting these places and treating them with respect and asking compassionate questions and really showing that, you know what, we care about you. I'm sorry that we weren't able to care about you when you were on this plane, but you know, we have the opportunity now to try to see if we can help you, and if you can perhaps communicate with us, maybe we can pass a message through for you. Or, you know, these are the kinds of things that as a community we can really do to help when it comes to the people. That sometimes that gets overlooked as well, but it's important, I think, you know?
I agree.
Yeah, for sure. Was there any place that you've ever been that was just hit you so profoundly that you just need to say something? I mean, what kind of experiences have you had?
I've had some pretty crazy experiences. I would say some of the most unusual or experiences that I just couldn't explain. And I will just say this, there's only one building that I've been to that I've been to several times that leaves me feeling uneasy. I've been there one time by myself, and I was just like sweaty palm, nervous, like I don't get scared, and I was like pretty close to where you can say I'm pretty scared. By myself, it was just freaking. It's the Shanley Hotel out here in New York. And Napanoch, New York. Sounds like the Stanley. Don't get confused with that. But it's the Shanley. And it's as you walk through the door, and as soon as you walk into the building, you feel the energy change. It feels like you're stepping back in time. And it's one of these buildings that, you know, psychics will claim there are 2 or 3 different portals in the building. And I don't know, you know, my feelings on that are up in the air, but whatever it is, it's filled with energy, and just you never know what's going to happen when you're there, from audible voices and screams to objects moving right in front of you on their own, which is something to me that doesn't happen often.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You know, and I've had those types of experiences there, and you know, I've heard and felt like what feels like a breath on my neck behind me and footsteps, and I stop walking, and I still hear the footsteps after I've stopped. I'm the only one there. And then they stop, and you see a shadow duck into a room. I've seen shadows walk through doors.
Oh, geez.
Flashlights moving back and forth on tables on their own, or big orbs of black light floating through the room right in front of me. And when you see these stuff with your own eyes, that's what really sets that freak factor to me. Because so, you know, we've all heard EVPs, and we've all seen great pictures, and maybe a video or two here and there that are great. But when you see it live right there, that's, to me, gets me all charged up, and it's like, holy, you know, I've never had those types of experiences. Or I've had a few, but not the consistency that I have at the Shanley.
We got to get you out of asylum.
Well, the Shanley sounds really awesome.
It does. I was going to ask, what's the history on the Shanley Hotel?
I've never even heard of it.
It was built in 1845 by a man named James Shanley, who was actually born on Halloween. So little bit there.
Good
And then
day.
the second owner of the hotel, who Mr. Shanley owned the hotel for probably 50 or 60 years until he passed away. His funeral was held at the building, at the Shanley as well. The next owner of the Shanley owned it for about 45 years. He was also born on Halloween.
Oh, geez.
That's a
Wow.
little strange. The current owners bought the building back in 2005. The building was used as kind of the mainstay for people traveling between Albany, New York, and New York City. So like right in the middle of the two, and the railroad line went through there. So many famous people on in their travels from New York, Albany being the capital city, and New York City being the business center, they would go back and forth. People like Thomas Edison and Franklin and Mrs. Roosevelt. Many well-known famous people had stayed at the Shanley Hotel. And but through the course of the years, the hotel had sort of a little bit of a curse on it in a way that there were many tragedies. There was a little girl who drowned in a well across the street. There was a little boy who was run over by an early vehicle at the turn of the century. There was a slave servant that was sworn to by his lover in the building and hung himself up on the third floor.
Oh, jeez.
And Mr. Shanley's funeral being there. So there's a series of 6 or 7 deaths in the building that were pretty significant and tragic.
Yeah, I think was there a show, was that show featured, or the Shanley Hotel featured on like one of the paranormal shows? Because I feel like I've heard that story before.
Yep, it's been on Ghost Lab, it's been on Ghost Hunters. The Ghost Hunters came and they didn't find anything, but everyone else has. But it's been on Ghost Lab. I was on my ghost story a couple weeks ago, and that was from the Shanley Hotel.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Yeah, because I was going to say, that sounds so familiar. I think that, wasn't there something, I don't know if this is true or not, because I know how TV works, but like something in the whole area, a curse of the whole area.
Well, the area is surrounded by the Shagatok Mountains, and I believe I'm probably mispronouncing it, but I think that's how they're pronounced. And it's filled with a lot of blackstone and limestone in the area, and a lot of canals and water and things. So, there's that whole history of that region being very historical and being very haunted. So there are a few other buildings that are fairly well known in the area that have that thing. But the whole, the whole town, the town of Napanock, where Shanley sits, is like stepping back in time. A lot of the buildings have remained unchanged, and it definitely has that feel to it.
Well, and that combination of like water and mineral, that's like a recipe for paranormal activity in theory.
It is.
Exactly. So I'm sure that helps keep that energy or draw that energy. Keep it flowing through the building as well.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any place that you frequent like all the time, other than like the Shanley, or do you go and do events at some places like that frequently?
Well, we have a place we've done a couple events at, but it's our home base. It's called the Irish Mist Paranormal Research Facility here in Troy, New York, and that's where we're training. We're going to be doing a Halloween party there. We did our first event there. We've done a Hurricane Sandy fundraiser there, and it's a place that actually just a few weeks ago we filmed an episode of Ghost Detectives TV show there as well.
Oh, fun.
And that'll be out, I think, in August, September.
Oh, yeah?
So it's a place that we go to quite a bit, and it's very, very active. It was ironically enough, and this is weird too, but it was also built in 1845, the same year that Shanley was built, and they're not even close to each other, but...
Same here.
So there's something about me and buildings built in 1845.
I know. We need to start looking for buildings 1845 and say, "Hey,
Well, maybe
John."
it was like, maybe it could have been
But it
like a
was
past life thing for him.
I don't know.
You never know.
Maybe you were born in 1845.
Maybe I was. I look like it, and I feel like it most days.
Oh, stop.
Okay, maybe you died in 1845. Let's go there.
Like that too, yeah. It was this building used to be one of the first cast iron stove factories in the United States. So in 1855, there's a stove factory. All the original pulley systems and like the machinery that they would have used, the hand cranked machinery to build stoves, are still in place in this building. It's amazing.
That stuff is so much fun.
I know. I love that. Like when we'll go to like mills and things like that. We have a lot of mills out here. You go to mills and you have all the chutes and things like
One
that.
in
And the
Idaho
pulleys.
is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 1910 or so, there was a really bad fire there. So we get
geez.
a lot of EVPs and stuff that are related to fire.
Oh,
And we've done a lot of residual type hauntings that have actually started to turn into more of an intelligent haunting. They know me by first and last name, and it's usually 2 or 3 different voices that have said my first and last name several times. So they're very familiar with me, and it started off as being a very residual, and now it's turned into almost a residual intelligence, which is a long story for another day. But
I was going to say, how does that work? But yeah, when you get into a location that you've been there so often, I think the spirits get to know who you are.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right, and to have them call your first and last name, that's pretty nifty. I like it.
Yeah, it happened several times.
It is nifty.
It goes on I subscribe to an alternate energy theory where I believe that a lot of what we're dealing with isn't really deceased people so much as energies of any people or things that have been left behind.
Right.
And these people can be either living or dead, and they can still be currently living. I'll give you a really quick for instance, because I know this isn't a new theory, but it's one that I very much subscribe to. If we have this great conversation on your show tonight, technically speaking, right after the show, someone could come in here and do an EVP session, and they might capture something from our conversation. People would think to do that because who's going to say, okay, they just did a radio show, let's do an EVP session. Nobody thinks like that.
Right.
But I believe that says, for instance, any type of situation where there's energy being passed back and forth, it's possible for that to be left behind. Now, usually it would be a more significant event that would cause that much of energy to be left behind, so that's kind of a silly, for instance. But
well, I was gonna say I'm gonna go grab my recorder here after the show.
I'm thinking it's time for bed after the show, but
we can do a
that
session,
makes sense,
yeah.
because I've heard of people. In a movie, somebody said, "Oh, I ran into my residual me from back 10 years ago," and I thought, it's recording. You leave your presence in time. I wonder if that's a possibility. But I mean, if obviously other people think like that, so.
Yeah. It's not just the movies.
It's not just the movies.
There's other people who could just simply call that talking to yourself, I guess, right? If you just, I'm going to have my EVP session, but I'm going to answer all my own questions.
I do it all the time.
You're like, answer me, future self. Oh, sorry, I just had to get it out. It's just, seriously, if you could sit there and have a EVP session with yourself.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Tell me wise things, oh great self.
Right.
Then you answered and you'd be like, yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Can you imagine the conversations we could have with ourselves? Oh my gosh. It'd be dangerous.
Only beginning to talking to yourself, I guess.
Right.
Through EVP session.
That's a new way. That's definitely new.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah.
So what's up and coming with you and your events? I know we talked about the one at Pennhurst, but what is it called? When is it? What's going on with that? And then your other events.
Yeah, let me quickly mention we've got one coming up in July. July 20th is probably our most important fundraiser that we do every year. We've done it a couple times now. This is for the Brookside Museum, which is the Saratoga County Historical Society. We do a fundraiser for them, and it's the only event we do during the year that doesn't have an investigation tagged with it. And the reason we do that is because the building, they have a lot of children's programs, a lot of things, and they just don't really want a paranormal investigation to be done there.
Mm-hmm.
Some teams might be like, well, geez, if we can't investigate, we can't do this and that. Whatever, and why do we want to help you? But the thing is, they have this amazing building, an amazing location that they take such incredible care of, and they have great artifacts, and they're always presenting these amazing historical programs for the community, and they get almost nothing back from the community, and they get almost nothing back from the government. So we do these fundraisers for them to say, you know what, it doesn't matter if you're not going to let us investigate. What matters is what you're doing for history, so we want to give back to you anyhow. So what we're doing is this fundraiser where I'm going to do a lecture. We're also having a lecture from John Jeff Unger, who is the journal notes taker from the C2D1 haunting out here in New York, which was, I don't know if you had a chance to see the movie Please Talk With Me, but it's an amazing paranormal human story that tells the story of the haunting back in Geneseo College in 1985 and what Mr. Krista Cesare went through, and he was the journal notes taker. He wrote down all the notes of everything that happened throughout this horrific haunting in 1985. For the first time ever, he's going to come out and publicly lecture on this.
Wow.
Chris has done lecturing all over the place, and John Jeff is very much a part of this, who hasn't done these lectures yet. So this is going to be great. And then a good friend of mine, David Allen Brown, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, is going to come out and do a gallery reading. And gallery readings, they're people have seen them all over the place and are familiar with them, but this guy, I'm very skeptical on psychics, and I met him at Gettysburg at Phenomenology, and like 5 minutes into our conversation, I said, this is the guy that if I'm ever going to book a psychic to do anything, this is the guy.
That's the one.
Oh, yeah. And he pulls no punches, so he's not the psychic for you if you really don't want to know.
Yeah, I was listening to that show, and I did catch that. I'm like, huh. I like David. I like him.
Yeah, I remember someone asked a question on the show about whether or not this was going to happen, and we would expect it to be, oh yeah, yeah, and he's like, no, and they're like, wow, I know, I was like, ooh, that's probably hit a nerve, but if this is really what he's seeing or feeling, then great, because that's what we tell people that ahead of time. David's not going to pull any punches. Don't if you're afraid of what you might say, then wouldn't be the event for you. But it's going to be a great event. And this week, I will tell people, if anyone is in the New York area, the Northeast area, listening or watching now, we're doing a special till Friday where tickets are 2 for the price of 1.
Oh.
So
where do you go to get those tickets?
it's gloryhaunthounds.com, our website, and it's right on the top of the page there where you can buy those 2-for-1 tickets for this week. And, this is a very important fundraiser, probably the number one, is most important event we're going to do all year. So if anybody has the ability to get out there and come to the event, we'd love to see you, and you'll have a great time. I promise you will not be sorry for doing so. And then again, you mentioned the Penhurst event. That's August 17th with our friends Brian Cano from Haunted Collector and partner in crime, Chris Mancuso from the Scared Crew. They're going to come out, and they're urban explorers, and everybody knows, of course, Mr. Brian is, and they're going to come out and help us lead that investigation of Penhurst, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then in September, we're doing a place called the Haunted Victorian Mansion, which is in Gardner, Massachusetts. It was seen just a couple weeks ago on Paranormal Witness. Next month, it's going to be on Ghost Adventures. It's been on Ghost Hunters twice, and and a haunting. So it's kind of like just about everything. We're doing it there in September with Johm from Ghost Hunters International. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Love Joe.
And then I can't say Joe Chin without saying Joe Chin. I mean, you can't say Joe without Joe Chin. It's almost impossible. That guy cracks me up.
Yeah, he's pretty fun.
There's more great events coming up in October, but we're going to be jumping way ahead. Those are the next ones coming up, and then man, I got all kinds of stuff happening. If we got a minute to talk about some other stuff, let me know.
Okay, well, where do you go to get the Penhurst tickets?
Sure. The Penhurst tickets, the same thing. It's www.gloryhaunthounds.com.
Okay.
So there's links to being able to purchase the tickets right on the front page there, and on our Para store. You can get tickets for those events through there as well.
And the Victorian one as well? That's where you go?
Yeah, the tickets aren't on sale quite yet for the Victorian Mansion, but they will be, I think, the third Monday of July, they go on sale for the Victorian Mansion. So all of our events are going to be on sale at gloryhaunthounds.com.
How fun.
That's
I want to go. I think we need a
Victorian
sponsor.
one sounds awesome.
We need a sponsor to go to all these events.
I think so.
Yeah, you definitely should come to Penhurst.
I want to. I'm like, Nick out there, he's been like, so you coming? I'm like, yeah.
It's only 20 miles from Philly, so you go out a little early, you get some cheesesteaks, you have a good time in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, I like it. That sounds great. I really want to go. I really, really want to go.
When is the Penhurst thing again?
That's August 17th.
August.
Yeah.
August 17th.
And
so
then,
that's a good birthday for you.
It is. Mine is the 14th of August, my birthday.
Right. So
Somebody's going to give you that for a birthday present, don't you think?
I think
will
so.
I will say that we're only selling 35 tickets to the event so far. Now, we may gain access to another building on the campus there. If that happens, to sell 50 tickets. But I can tell you now we're over half sold out in a day and a half of ticket sales. So
nice.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. And back there's a lot of paranormal interest out in that area. So it's that's not going to be hard to fill up at all.
Okay, so do one for me, just because. You'll have to do another one if I don't make it to this one. I want to.
That'd be fun. August.
This is going. I would say it's a pretty safe bet. We'll be back at some point, but you never know.
You never know.
Well, here's the most important question: how hot is it in August?
Good question.
Probably fairly warm. But you know what? They got lots of broken windows, so you'll have a lot of air ventilation.
Sweet.
Golden.
That's awesome. And then, do you have is there a lot of tickets available? Not yet, because I know they're not for sale yet, but is there going to be a lot of spots for the Victorian Mansion?
Probably about the same amount. Probably about 30, 35 tickets or so. So we try to limit that because we want the experience to be the best for everybody.
Right. Nothing like 90 people running around.
And no offense to the people who do this, but I've been to some events where they bring in a location like Penhurst or Victorian Mansion or any of these places. They bring like 100 people, and it's chaos. group, the smallest group you're going to have is like 25 or 30 people in one group, and it's just, you know, not only does that takes away the experience for so many reasons. No, a lot of people aren't going to get a chance to ask the questions. They're not going to get a chance to play with any equipment. And everyone to have a great experience. So we split up into 3 or 4 teams when we have 30, 35 people. So it's small groups, groups of 10 or 11 at the most. And a huge location like Penhurst is really a little group. So we want everyone to have the best experience possible, be able to be, and we want it to be very interactive. We want people to be hands-on with stuff and be able to, you know, I like to sit back and let everyone else lead the investigation as far as the people, you know, they paid the money, let them have the fun,
right.
You know. So that's really what it's all about. And that's why I never do an event. I sold way more tickets than we make it fun for people. It's not about making it, it's about giving, it's about learning about history, giving back to the nations, and having people have fun. And you know, you can't have fun if it's people crammed into one spot. So.
Right. So if you guys are watching and you don't have a ticket and you really want to go,
really want to go,
you gotta get them. You've got to get them.
Well, there's limited left. I mean, we already have sold out.
I mean, they're not going to have any problem selling out. So just
this will be sold out by next week.
Right. So get on it. If you haven't, don't wait. Don't wait, because it won't be there anymore.
Right. Yeah, it's going to go fast.
Absolutely.
So don't be like, oh, well, we'll see what happens next week. No. If you want it, get it.
To get your credit cards out. Don't wait for paycheck. Just do it.
Borrow the money from grandma or something. I don't
Something.
Something.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. That's I love history, and we've talked to several people who are into just the history of everything, and it's fascinating because without the history, like he said, like John Tobin said, we would not have what we have today.
Oh, I know.
You know, we wouldn't be here, really. And the history of all these buildings, whether it's good, whether it's bad, is very, very important, and I really applaud Glory Haunt Hounds and, you know, all your teams and you and what you do and everybody else who is out there preserving the history.
Right.
Because people really don't understand how important history is.
Well, you know, they don't make them like they used to.
Right, exactly. And those, I was just going to say, those buildings are just fascinating. Oh, you just stare at them all day long. Go, ooh, how many times do we watch movies through text together? And we're like, oh, gotta watch this show. It has an awesome house in it.
Well, what horror movie or, you know, proper horror movie does not have an awesome old building?
Not one that I know of.
No.
That Shack in the Woods doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you gotta have it. It's not a good horror movie if the house is, you know, it just, you know, I guess it could work if it's a modern house, if the story's good enough. But if you got a really good classic horror movie, I mean, the one that comes to mind to me is like The Shining, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The building, the hotel was a character in itself, you know? That was really what
it was.
Oh, man.
That was the whole thing. That was the life of the movie, was the location.
Right, in the middle of nowhere, and it's very lonely out there. I mean, even though it's surrounded by a lot of things, it's really, it's very quiet.
Well, I like the architecture of like the older style buildings. I mean, I would pay somebody good money to engineer me an old style new house. If I couldn't find one. Like, my house now, it was built in the late 1800s. I love it.
I know, it's so cute.
I know, I love it.
It's fun. I love all that stuff. Well, that being said, I believe it's almost break time.
Is it almost break time? Oh my gosh, time is totally flying, John.
It has.
Can you believe it's break time?
I can't believe it's break time.
Wow. Okay. Well, okay, we're going to go to break then.
We're going to go to break.
We're going to go for 5 minutes this time.
Ish.
We all know about the ish rule if you watched before. But 5 minutes, we're going to come back, and then we're going to have Larry from Big Time Paranormal take over and give us a little bit of info that he's dug up over the last week, and then we'll be back with John Tobin.
about 5-ish minutes.
I think so. I think we're pretty on time
pretty on
tonight.
time.
We're on time tonight, and so...
It's a one-of-a-kind occasion.
I know! You guys are here to witness it. It's amazing, amazing miracle.
Lick it, stick it.
Lick it, stick it. Anyways, hopefully you guys got your drinks, went to the bathroom, got a little snack, popcorn, whatever.
Right.
Because next is Larry from Big Time Paranormal.
Hi, welcome to Big Time Paranormal. My name is Larry Gonzalez, and I am grateful that you are here. As each and every week, we try to bring you the news and some of the other stuff that's going on in the paranormal field. And I am so grateful to Worldwide Paranormal Network that they allow me to come here each and every week. Why? I don't know. They're crazy. Anyway, let's get on with some of the news for the past week. Over in the UK, it was just announced this past week that they were going to be shutting down the UFO division. The Ministry of Defense has said that they're just going to shut it down. They don't see any issues as far as any UFOs being dangerous or anything like that. I have no idea what's going on, but I found this on YouTube, so let's play some of that video now.
The Ministry of Defense closed its UFO desk and hotline, reported sightings in a year when the department had to trebled. The mystery behind the closure of the Ministry of Defense's UFO desk and hotline has been solved in 2009 with the release of declassified files. The government UFO shut down its operations because they served no defense purpose and were taking staff away from more valuable defense-related activities. According to 25 files from the National Archives, documents reveal 643 reported sightings were in 2009, treble the previous year and the second since 1978 when 750 highest recorded sightings were logged. They include the accounts of alleged abductions, contact with aliens, including the claim they'd been living with a person who is an alien, and UFO sightings near landmarks like the Houses of Parliament UK. Despite these, in a briefing for then Defence Minister Bob Ainsworth in November 2009, Carl Mantell, of the RAF's Air Command, said in more than 50 years, no UFO sighting reported has ever revealed anything to suggest an extraterrestrial presence or military threat to the UK. The memo said there was no defense benefit in the recording, collating, analysis or investigation of the sightings, adding, the level of resources to this task is diverted, increasing, reported in response to a recent upsurge, diverting staff from more valuable defense-related activities.
Okay, so the Ministry of Defense, for whatever reason, they want to shut it down. But then again, I went ahead and contacted a William Puckett over at UFOs Northwest. They're in Helena, Montana. And I spoke to a William Puckett. Now, William Puckett had told me that the Ministry of Defense was really putting no money into it. They were putting about $70,000 into their budget. So they weren't really spending that much money. They weren't taking it that seriously, obviously. Now, here in the States and also in the UK, over in Russia, they know otherwise because they have had military installations where the missiles, the nuclear missiles, have been shut down. So that tells me that there's a lot more danger going on out there with them. Now, why they shut it down, I don't know. I am very skeptical about it because the fact that whenever they shut down something, it makes me suspicious that they might have moved it underground, take it off the public's view. So if we hear anything more, we'll let you know. But thank you to William Puckett. Now, if you have any UFO sightings, it will be good for you to report them in because a very small portion of you that actually see them actually report them. but we need to have that database in place so when those go to, say, Washington or wherever, that they have numbers to be able to argue these many people are seeing UFOs. So contact someone like William Puckett at UFOs Northwest at P.O. Box 4926, Helena, Montana 59604. His phone number is 406-422-0530. Or you can go ahead and email him at wpuckett, Puckett, at UFOSNW.com, or you can fax him at 866-903-1960. We need to make sure you get those reports into people like that. So, like I said, they're on record, and they can cross-reference them in case they have other sightings as well, and also dates and so on. So thank you to William for getting that information to me. So our next story is very interesting. So I could start off with a joke like, how many paranormal Egyptians does it take to turn a statue? I don't know, but we have one on video. Play the video. Okay, so we have this Egyptian statue has spooked museum bosses after it mysteriously started to spin around in a display case. As you saw in the video, it actually did spin. The 10-inch tall relic, which dates back to 1800 BC, was found in a mummy's tomb and has been at the Manchester Museum for 80 years. But in recent weeks, curators have been left scratching their heads after they kept finding it facing the wrong way. Experts decided to monitor the room on a time-lapse video, and they were astonished to find what they saw. Now, what they've also done was they contacted some people to try to find out or figure out why this thing is spinning. So, who knows? How many Egyptians does it take to spin a statue in a store? I don't know. So, of course, the statue, it reminds me of my cousin Linda. And way back in the day, we had the old Super 8 cameras. We actually caught my cousin playing around, and I was able to find the old Super 8 and convert it over, and we're going to watch it right now. And this is my cousin Linda. Yeah, crazy Linda. Yeah, she was always doing something different to stand out. So our next story is about Chupacabra. Now, this one was at nighttime. This was down in Texas, San Antonio. The video that was included in the story, unfortunately, is not on YouTube, and there's no way for me to access it. So, to substitute it, we found another story that kind of goes with it. This was published a while back, so take a look at this one.
Texas Parks and Wildlife are working to identify what one Texas boy believes to be a chupacabra. The teen shot the alleged beast over the weekend, and right now hair and skin samples are being processed. So we can only wait and see what exactly this creature is. Hasty Toggy brings us the story.
Across this open field, Carter spotted a strange animal.
You just walked across and started shaking, slowly moving across. No hair at all on it. Its back legs were shriveled up, and I mean, I honestly thought, well, I mean, it's chupacabra.
Carter says he ran to his parents' room, waking up his dad to come see what he had discovered.
I thought, maybe I'm dreaming or this kid is just crazy, you know. But I'm probably a little bit of both.
But Will Pope says when he came outside with his son, he was amazed at the strange creature. This is that animal. Carter says it was about 200 feet away. He says he fired 3 shots before the alleged chupacabra stopped moving. Now the animal lays here, visible from their home. Stories about alleged chupacabra sightings have been around for years, and pictures have surfaced on the internet. Some believe a chupacabra is an animal that sucks the blood of livestock, a strange-looking thing with barely any hair. For many, it's a thing of legends. Some wildlife biologists believe it is a sick coyote or other wild animal.
I could believe it either way, you know. I know it looks like nothing I have ever personally seen before.
Now again, Carter and his family have sent off hair and skin samples to determine what exactly this creature is. If you happen upon what you think is a chupacabra, don't run. Instead, grab your phone, snap a photo, and report your chupacabra sighting. Download the new Chupa Tracker, brought to you by the friendly KINS 5 digital team.
Okay, so as you can see, the video I chose is because the video that was an original story that I saw on Facebook, the animal actually looked very similar. It was hairless, it had a long tail, the snout was longer than, say, a coyote or whatever. The video that was originally seen on Facebook, it was actually at nighttime, and you could see this thing running back and forth. So they went ahead and shot it, but like I said, I couldn't bring it to you. So this is the best I could do for you for now, is that kind of video. Now, it seems like a lot of these pictures of the supposed chupacabra seem to have the same look. But of course, we've had people chiming in on Facebook. See, people are saying it's possibly a coyote with mange. But then someone wrote that it doesn't look like a coyote. It has a long tail. So they had got a lot of different photographs of these animals that look very similar, mange. Now, the story that you just saw, they said that they took samples and so on, and I believe that I have not heard anything about the results of those tests, so I don't know what it is that they found, but they seem to be a lot of them going around in the Southwest, like Texas and so on. So hopefully one day we'll actually get an answer to if these are the legendary chupacabra coming out of Latin America. Because of time restrictions, I haven't been able to get conventions over to you guys the way I normally would like to. So I'm actually going to replay this one from last week. It's from the Mid-South Paranormal Convention here in 2013. So here's the video for it.
Mid-South Paranormal Convention 2013 in Louisville, Kentucky on August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the Ramada Inn, 9700 Bluegrass Parkway, hosted by the Louisville Ghost Hunter Society. Keith Age, host of Haunted Collector John Zappis, Joe Chin from Taps, filmmaker and documentarian Christopher St. Booth, Sci-Fi's Deep South Paranormal, and many, many more. Tickets are on sale now at LouisvilleGHS.com. All ticket sales are final, no refunds. Speaker and vendor lineup subject to change. Come hang with the best in the paranormal.
Okay, so then that's it for the conventions. Now what we're going to be talking about is we have a video for you to check out. Alright, now I'm not going to tell you anything about it. We'll just talk about it after. Okay, let's see the video. Okay, so I'm enough of a skeptic to say, there's someone underneath pushing the chairs, and so on and so on. Who knows how much of that's real, or if anything of it is real. But if I was to be brought in to investigate, at least there's enough there for me to go, let's take a look. So whether it's real, who knows? But maybe some of you have seen that video. Now the next video, my cousin sent this over, and we'll take a look at it. Sober? Oh, goodness. My crazy cousin Linda, what can I say? No, I spilt water there. No, it's not that. I spilt water. Really? Anyway. Anyway, that's it for this week. Now, there is one more thing I want to talk about, and let's be serious for a moment. On my Facebook page, Big Time Paranormal, one thing that we have always said is that we believe in respect. And we really believe in that. I have always believed that it doesn't matter if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, if you're Jewish, Wiccan, anything. Or even if you're atheist, that's your choice. That's your personal choice, and I respect it. We have also respected that if you post anything on Big Time Paranormal, there will be also respect. This past week, we had to remove 2 people from Big Time Paranormal because they didn't show respect. One actually took me to task publicly and challenged me about something. And after I tried to diffuse it, and someone else also tried to diffuse the situation, he would not stop. He was very persistent on embarrassing me. And I'm getting too old to be playing these games. I'm almost 50 years old. I don't feel like I need to express why I do what I do, because you know what, my mom and dad's passed away, and this guy is not my supervisor, so why should I feel like I need to explain anything to him? So that's that. Number 2, someone else had posted something about it was a photograph, and someone just was they used a lot of foul language, and they said that, you know, it's fake and it's a lie, blah blah blah, and of course they used a lot of F-bombs and S-bombs. And I made it quite clear that you are not going to be using that kind of language. It's not tolerated, because I do happen to know that there is kids that are 12, 13 years old looking on Big Time Paranormal, and I always keep the idea that even though that they can hear this kind of language on the playground, they're not going to hear it here. Now, we might post pictures that are sexy or whatever, but there will be no nudity and there will be no cussing. Once in a while, if you happen to have a Facebook page that has the F-bomb in it or the S-bomb in it, that's something else. We leave it in there because of the fact that if you want to see the posting yourself, or you think that you might like their stuff, you have somewhere to go over to take a look at it themselves. But as far as anything else, yeah, that kind of stuff's not going to be tolerated. We have a certain amount of integrity, or at least I try to. I believe that you have a voice, we have a voice. We work together. If you insult one of us, you insult all of us. But feel free, anytime you wish, to post on Big Time Paranormal. Now again, we challenge anyone that has a promo for their team to make sure to let us know over at Big Time Paranormal or our worldwide paranormal network so we can actually show it to all of you. We are trying to build some kind of database for all of you to check out because we believe that there's a bigger audience out there looking for conventions. And let's face it, video is a very powerful tool. So, until next week, we at Big Time Paranormal and Worldwide Paranormal Network, thank you. And remember, today is your day. Go out and make it happen. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
We're back.
You know what? I just love Larry. I cannot get enough of that guy.
He cracks me up when he dropped out of screen.
He's always got something scary for us, you know, or funny. I like the one where he had the mirror and he stared into it, and then all of a sudden he was gone. Poof, gone. That one was a good one too. That was always. Oh, love Larry. Thanks, Larry from Big Time Paranormal. Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Maria. Thanks everybody on the team from Big Time Paranormal. You guys totally rock. We love you. Thank you so much for everything you do. I know it's hard and it's a lot of work, but you pull it off. Definitely
busy people.
I know. It's awesome, and I really appreciate it. So thank you guys, and everybody, thanks for watching us as well.
Right.
And we're going to get right back into talking with John Tobin. We could talk for hours.
Oh, man. The guy is full of information.
Full of information. John, say hi again.
Hello. Believe it or not, that's not the first time I've been said that I'm full of it.
Well, we're going to say you're full of it in a good way.
Good information.
Good information. So we're going to just get right back into it because, like I said, a lot of information, a lot of fun things to talk about. And one thing that I thought was fascinating is you're not just a paranormal enthusiast, you're not just a historian, you're not just an event coordinator, you're like a movie star.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't go that far.
I'll go that far for you. He's a movie star.
He's a movie star. You heard it first here.
Heard it first here on WWPN. But we're going to ask you, John, a little bit more about your career in acting. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about it?
Sure. Well, you know what? A lot of my acting career stemmed from about 12 or 15 years with my ex-wife, where I had to act like I liked her for so long.
No, he didn't.
We are a controversial show.
No, but seriously, I've just been really blessed to meet a lot of wonderful people and some real dear friends who happen to be involved in a bunch of different projects. One of those being a great friend, Krista Cesare, who we mentioned earlier, John Jeff Unger on the event that I've have coming up. But Krista Cesare was the key witness on the T2D1 hunting, and very much responsible for the movie Please Talk With Me, which was about his life in this incident that happened. So it was a portrayal of that. And he's got a new movie coming out that's filming as we speak, actually, called Surviving Evidence, that comes out this October, I believe, and it's filming now. And I'm very, very lucky to be called upon to actually portray myself in sequences that will be, several people will be recorded talking about different things that have to do with paranormal, and it'll be weaved in throughout the movie. So I can't give too much away about the movie. They're keeping it under wraps a little bit.
Oh, come on.
Honestly, they haven't told me that much other than what I did for my part there. So, wow. More information on that coming out soon. But I believe if you go to Surviving Evidence, there's a Facebook page set up already for it.
Ooh,
so you
fancy. I love that. That sounds interesting. Is it going to be, screening everywhere, or is it just like a local screening, or?
There'll be screenings all over the Northeast and a lot of the Paracons and stuff like that after that. I'm sure there'll be screenings all the way through the spring or so, and then probably next summer is where it'll hit the Blu-ray and DVD scene. But I know they're going to be screening at film festivals and things of that nature too. There will be an announcement coming up about the premiere of it, so look out for that. The premiere, I believe, is going to be in October, and there'll be a big announcement about that. The film is featuring probably 10 or 15 pretty well-known paranormal people. Some of them have been announced and some haven't. So if you want to check out Surviving Evidence on Facebook, you can see some of the people that are involved in this great project, and I'm sure our community once they see some of the people that are involved, they're going to be like, holy crap, I really want to see this. And I'm one of them. I really want to see it too, because there's a lot of great people in it. It's going to be a great story. So
that's awesome.
That's exciting.
So do you get? Are they going to roll out the red carpet for you? You going to get in a tux and sport your stuff?
I guess you guys will have to just wait and see what they announce for the premiere. You know?
We're impatient people. We need to know now.
And then another, actually a bigger role where I'm actually truly going to be acting, because I'm not playing myself in this one, is a movie called A Grim Becoming from my friends at Deftone Picture Studios, based out of Buffalo, New York. They're filming now. They've been filming for quite a while now, but I'm going to be out in July filming that. I'm playing a character named William Stanford, who's an executive at a company that is a company where this young executive works, and the young executive has the misfortune of seeing a Grim Reaper in action.
Ooh.
And the movie would have it, if you see a Grim Reaper in action, you actually become a Grim Reaper. And so the movie tells the struggles that he has with a character called Magoo that is actually the character of Death. And Death and Life fight each other to try to battle for the soul to transform him into a Grim Reaper despite his resistance. So the movie is actually very funny and very creepy and scary, and has a lot of great elements to it. Probably one of the best scripts I've ever read, and I'm truly honored to be a part of this project. It stars Britt Griffith from Ghost Hunters, Bill Oberst Jr., who was in Abraham Lincoln vs. Zombies and about a gazillion other horror movies, Jessica Cameron, who's been in a ton of movies, Devaney Pinn, and a whole bunch of great actors and actresses, and just honored to be a part of that project as well.
Wow.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that is. So a horror comedy?
Yeah. It is. It really is. 1 minute you'll be laughing your butt off, and the next minute you'll be, screaming. So it's just like that.
Oh, I love it.
Well, I like it. You're like laughing. You're like, oh, that was so great. And next thing you know, rah, something jumps out at you, and you're like, oh crap, I just wet myself.
It kind of keeps you uneasy. You're not sure whether to laugh or to cover your face. Kind of thing. So it'll definitely keep you on the edge of your seat. And I recommend anyone listening or watching, I'm sorry, just to go to YouTube and just say A Grim Becoming in and check out the teaser trailer. It's pretty good. It's actually really, really good. So
it's exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. And I just have to say you're really good at anticipating my questions, because you just answered a question that I was about to ask, and it wasn't the first time. This
right.
Like, oh, well, now what? I got nothing.
It's on top of it. I guess that's what happens when you're a radio personality. You do this for a living. You already know what to say before somebody asks it.
I know.
I forgot to mention Mind Reader on my list of things.
Mind Reader.
Okay.
The resume is growing.
That's right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the shows you've got? Because you don't only have one. You have a couple shows that you do.
I do. I'll talk first about, thank you for that opportunity. The first is Keeping the Spirits Alive, and the inspiration behind that show started about 1.5 years ago, and I was, we go back a little bit. Radio broadcasting is something that I always wanted to do. When I was a teenager, I had applied for broadcasting school, and I was accepted, and my parents didn't want me to go. They didn't think they thought I was a fad. They didn't think I was anything that I'd ever really want to do. They didn't think I was serious about it. So, of course, at 15, 16, I didn't have any money, so I couldn't pay for it. Then I got a letter back 2 weeks later saying, oh, we've accepted you into the adult program. We really, really want you to go. We think you're talented at this. We think you can do it. It didn't work out, so I never really pursued that. I actually owned a DJ company in the 90s for probably 2 or 3 years, and I liked it, but at the end of the day, it came down to playing music that I didn't like for people I didn't like, so it wasn't that much fun for me. So, I was like, I need to focus and do something that I enjoy doing for people that I would want to interact with, connect with. So the Paranormal show came around, and I thought, how can I do a paranormal show? And I really wanted to focus it on historic locations and history. The show's taken off to the point now where it's about a little bit of everything now, but we like to go back every couple months and bring on a lot of these historic locations and representatives for that to kind of keep our focus back on it. But, it had a nice long run on the Parax Radio Network, and a few things changed over there, and so we switched over to the A1B Radio Network. But it's grown quite a bit in 1.5 years, and it's going really well. And then I love doing the radio thing so much that I said, you know what, I have a lot of other interests that aren't paranormal, and well, people probably don't even know that I do. So I'm gonna say I want to do another show, and people are saying, well, John, you should do something else. You should do it longer. Keeping the Spirits Alive should be 2 hours, or you should do this this and that. And I'm like, I can see that, but I think I want to do something different. So I created and decided to be not clever for a change and just do the John Tobin show because I figured, there you go. And I don't have to think about it. I just use my name and it is what it is. So that show's not paranormal at all, but I have different subjects on every week. It's been about 4 weeks into it now, and I have a little really quick funny thing to mention on that. Week 3, which would have been last week, was supposed to be about doomsday preppers, and I was having a man on called Jay Blevins, and ironically enough, we lost power, and I wasn't prepared, and I couldn't have the show because. So he called
Been
me back.
there.
Yeah, I called him back to reschedule, and he said, I will reschedule and do your show again as long as I can make fun of you for not being prepared when you had the doomsday prepper on your show. Okay, deal.
I love doomsday prepping.
You were not prepared, John.
I was not. And, this week we had a couple friends of mine on talking about cancer surviving, people who survived battles with cancer. So and then, next week we might have an entertainment segment and news, and we do a little funny stuff on there, things that make me go home or weird stories and stuff like that. So I like to have fun with it, and it's definitely something completely different than the keeping the spirits alive. So.
Yeah, and sometimes you see the serious side of John.
That's right.
Every now and then the serious side comes out. I keep him hidden, locked away in a closet most of the time.
I know, he's got it just in case. He's doomsday prepping.
Right.
Yeah,
but not with power. Yeah. That's the next step.
Generator, John. Generator.
A doomsday preparation kit is like a cardboard box. It's never not prepared, no.
Everybody needs a good cardboard box to hunker down in from time to time.
I agree. Should have saved like the refrigerator box or something.
I know, I always have my kids like draw pictures on it. They'd be like, "Here's some grass." I'm like, "Yes, you need grass. How about some birds?
Right.
Get some birds on there."
I just got race cars out of all the boxes.
Well, that too. The race cars are necessary.
And houses.
Yeah, but your house is the cardboard.
Right. Well, yeah.
Neighbors.
They got to build a whole city.
So, John, tell us when your show is.
The show airs Monday nights. And let me see if I can do this. You guys are in the mountain time zone, so let me see. It airs Monday nights. The John Tobin Show is on from 5 to 6. And Keeping the Spirits Alive is on from 6 to 7. So that translates to 7 to 8 Eastern and 8 to 9 Eastern on Keeping the Spirits Alive. And they are on the A1B Radio Network, which is allonebroadcast.com.
Allonebroadcast.com.
And and I've listened. They're fun. They have some good times. And the best part, is joining in chat. These guys, they chat back and forth with you. And then sometimes you get the crazies and the funnies and the just plain sillies in chat. I love the chat boxes, by the way.
Oh yeah, you never know what's going to happen when you step into the chat rooms there. And so it's a strange transition going from one network to another because some people are slow to catch on to that. But our audience has pretty much come over, and we're getting new listeners from the move too. So it's been a good transition, and it's we're definitely helping the network grow. I've been very involved with helping the A1B network grow and bringing in and recruiting shows, and that was kind of one of the things I wanted to really be involved in is really help the growth of a network and help them find quality programming. And as you guys know, I'm sure for every one show out there that's really good quality like your show, there's 100 others that just pierce your eardrums to listen to. So I just find it way more important to have quality over quantity. We don't have to have the most shows on the internet. We just have to have some of the best ones, and that's what I wanted to be part of.
Well, that's true. I mean, one lousy show can just crash it for everyone.
Well, it puts you in a funk for a while.
Yeah.
Not only that, you get listeners that maybe aren't regular listeners. They'll tune in and they hear this horrible show on your network. And then you tell them, "Oh, come listen to my show," and they're like, "Oh, you're on that network," you know what I mean? So
yeah, they're like, "Yeah, okay, I'll see you there." Not.
Right. So it's important, and that's why that's one of the reasons why I made the switch to All One Broadcast. The definitely emphasis on the quality of the show over there, and I like to think too, if you check it out, the player that they've incorporated into the All One Broadcast site, it's like one of the crispest and clearest, best sounds for a radio show out there, and I thought that was awesome. That was one of the big selling points for me. I'm like, yeah, I love the way you guys sound. It doesn't sound like your typical radio show on the netwave.
That is a big thing. I mean, when we were putting our show together, we're like, audio. Seriously, yeah, the technical difficulties you can have can be so frustrating.
Poor Cammie and Kim. I was lucky enough I don't live with them, so they're up all night hashing it out, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. They find different microphones and get the Yeti, and oy vey.
Yeah,
I feel bad for them. They really.
It's seriously a lot of work. Hard. It's a lot of work, and so it's awesome that we have people that listen and view us and support us. I mean, it's huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. You want to put on the best quality show you can for the people who listen. You know, it's an honor to have these people listen. They're taking time out of their busy days and schedules, just like all of us, and they take the time to listen to our shows, and that's a huge thing. So to give them a quality product and something that's not painful to listen to is a big deal. So
it really is.
Now, with your shows, can you do like different podcasts, and people can download them to listen to them later?
Yeah, do you have them archived? Like that?
Yeah, do you have them archived so people can either buy them or just download them to listen to them later? So when they're on their jog or on their way to work or whatever, you can just plug it into their whatever they are, iPods,
whatever their device happens to be.
Yeah.
Again, the John Tobin Show and Keeping the Spirits Alive are both available on iTunes.
Good,
so
good.
You can go to iTunes and download the past episodes for free and subscribe. I encourage everybody to subscribe. That way you can take me wherever you go.
See, that's nice.
We love that too, because we
do.
Our Ustream has an app that you can download, and you can go and look at all our videos as well in the archives. And that's honestly, that's where we get a huge percentage of our viewers is, and they continue to grow. Every show continues to get more viewers and more viewers and more viewers. So just because it's not on, next week doesn't mean you can't watch it. And I mean, a lot of people do watch, so it's good.
It's
the iTunes is huge. It's also on Stitcher and a few other places. But I like it when people will go to the iTunes and subscribe, and then listen whenever they get a chance. Gym, the car, whatever you listen to your iTunes podcast, try to make it convenient for folks. A1B has an on-demand section as well, but I don't advertise that as much because I want people to go to the podcast.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you always want them to be there. I like the chat, like I said. I think that is the funnest thing. If I could sit here and chat back and forth during the show, I totally would.
Sure.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Interactivity is cool. Plus, sometimes you get some of your best questions out of the chat room. You're like, wow, I didn't think of that, but that's a great question, and you'll ask it on the whatever. It makes for some good stuff. So.
I agree.
Right. Well, you get a lot of different minds going on, and people who think differently, and people who think the same, and people they come from all over, which is really appreciative because, when you're on a one track, and then somebody's like, oh, wait, just a second. What if this? Or how about this? Or, oh, I just got a random question about this. It can take the show to a whole nother level, which is awesome for me. I like it.
Me too.
Yeah, definitely cool.
Me too. So what are your plans for your radio shows here in the future? I mean, what is your ultimate goal? What do you want to do with them?
Well, besides having you guys on, obviously, would be my ultimate goal. But,
you are so flattering.
Gold star.
But honestly, I haven't really set a goal for myself on the show. I mean, ultimately, the ultimate goal, honestly, well, I guess I have in a way. I would love keeping the spirits alive to either one of them, really, to maybe find a syndicated home somewhere. I've done a little bit of shopping on there, and I've had some interest in a couple different places, but it has to be the right thing. What I'm doing now works for me, and I'm getting enough listeners, and I'm getting to enough places that it keeps me happy and satisfied. So. I don't need to rush into something else, but because it's a whole other world out there. In the terrestrial world or the satellite world are big things, and they're different, and could potentially change the way everything happens. So if that comes along, that would be great. But it's not something that's like, oh my God, that has to happen. It really has been fine the way it's been going. So, but I just want to continue to produce a quality show that people like to listen to, and that they look forward to it. And I like to try to find guests and subject matters. Like for the John Tobin Show, the subject matter is really the key. Things that I think would be interesting, but I also want to be very conscious of what other people would find interesting or what they would want to listen to. I can tell you some of the guests I have coming up, Keeping the Spirits Alive. This week coming up, I mentioned him a couple times already, but Jeff Ungar is going to be on talking about our Brookside Museum event and the C2D1 haunting stuff. And then on July 8th, we have Bishop James Long on. He's a guy that I've known for a while, but hadn't had him on the show yet. And he caught my eye when he posted something the other day on Facebook about zombie apocalypse. And about how many people that he noticed out there seriously think that this could or would want for this to happen. They would challenge of being like the last people left on Earth and to try to live life like the Walking Dead people do and the survival thing and actually hoping for something like this to happen. And he found that to be an unusual thing. And I thought his take on it was really interesting. And so I'm going to have him on to talk about that and of course talk about his career in the paranormal and from a point of view of the clergy, which is always an interesting side of it.
Absolutely.
And then I think what else we have coming on in July? We've got July 15th, I'm on vacation, so we actually have a very special guest host that'll be sitting in with Chip for Keeping the Spirits Alive.
Awesome.
You'll have to see who that is. We're finalizing the details on that, but it'll be pretty cool. And then our anniversary show is the week after that. I'm hoping to book a really, really special guest, but I haven't got that confirmed yet. So those are the kind of things coming up on Keeping the Spirits Alive. And of course, we're going to, on the John Tobin Show, we're going to reschedule the Doomsday Prepper Show, and the guy can make fun of me. So you can listen to a guy make fun of how unprepared I am. That'll be And,
that one you'll have to remind me of.
You know what I'm really looking forward on there, this week I've got Craig Eugene, who owns All One Broadcast, A1B. He's going to be on talking specifically about radio broadcasting. Career in that. He's also a psychic, so he's going to kind of tie that in a little bit. But we're really going to get behind what really goes in behind creating a radio network that focuses on paranormal. What is his vision for how that would go, and how to build that from the ground up and how he's done that. So that'll be a behind the scenes kind of look. That should be something that you wouldn't normally hear about,
Right. Yeah, I keep thinking every time you say a different subject, hey, remind me about that. Remind me about that one. Don't forget to remind me about that one.
Well, I bet he has posts.
Well, he does, but, busy day, busy life.
Where
he sends me an event.
Oh, well,
every
there
single
you go.
week.
That's sweet.
So, yeah, it reminds me, but I still need to be reminded. I'm just letting you know that they're all fascinating subjects.
Right.
I just...
Well, if people wanted to, is there a Facebook page for this so people know what's coming up, or...
Oh, yeah, there's a Facebook page for the John Tobin Show and Keeping the Spirits Alive, and both things are updated on the gloryhaunthounds.com website. And I try to set up an event, and I do the event just because I know how Facebook works, and I know that I could post the flyer 6 times, and then someone's going to come back to me and say, oh, I didn't know you had that guest. So I'm like, okay, if I invite everyone I'm friends with to the show, they have no excuse to say they didn't know the show was on.
You're holding them hostage. You're like, I know you knew. I sent you an invite to the event. I'm going to copy you, by the way, just so you know.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to get feedback. I'd like to know, for the John Tobin Show, for instance, what kind of things people would want to hear. And I'd be willing to really do a show about anything. And that's why I try to say, okay, the show, the contrast in that, the funny thing of it is, the show has my name on it. So you'd think, okay, well, John's going to do what John wants to do. But the whole point of it, in the contradictory form, is I really want to have a show that presents what other people want to hear and want to see about things that you don't hear and see about on other shows. And that's what I want to kind of focus on. So I've tried to come up with some ideas, but I would love to get feedback from people like you, Cammie and Kathy, anybody that I know, and let's throw it out there right now. What's a subject matter that you guys like that's not paranormal that you think would be cool to hear about on a talk show?
That's not paranormal?
That's not paranormal. Let me think. Hold on. Give me a second.
You gotta brainstorm.
You can keep talking if you want, just so that we don't have dead air, but I'm gonna think. Okay. Vacation spots?
Kim said vacation spots. Who's a smart man?
Vacation spots, okay, we could do a show on that, but there's the Travel Channel for that, right?
There is a Travel Channel, but
you send Cammie and I on vacation, and then we tell you how it is from a personal perspective.
This is what the viewers and listeners want.
They want Kathy and Cammie to go on vacation.
Or you could do interesting hobbies, like taboo things.
Oh yeah.
I am going to focus. I am definitely going to have. The show that always gets me and it grosses me out and makes me stare and makes me stare like I'm drooling look on my face because I can't believe it is the strange. What is it? My Strange Addiction.
Oh yeah. Oh. That's so true. You describe that so well. It's like it makes you sick, but you can't.
Like
not
the gal
watch.
that's on shortly is about rats. Her strange addictions with rats, and they sleep all over her.
See, There is a fascinating show topic for you.
Oddities,
Like,
too.
you know, the guy that's madly in love with his pool toys, things like that. It's like his inflatable,
Who's a mermaid, eats, breathes, and sleeps mermaid.
Yeah, or the guy, or the woman who sprays, deodorant and eats deodorant and sprays it.
And then people who eat toilet paper. It happens. It's
Clearly,
real.
I'm missing out. I need to set my
gosh.
DVR so I could be just as disgusted and fascinated.
Girl, I need
I think to have a radio show we have 2 or 3 different people on with really bizarre addictions would be cool, right?
I think so. I think that would be very
You have
cool.
to see them doing it, but you can hear about it. It would be just as gross.
Right, yeah, I don't need to see the video of them kissing their rats or shoving their face full of toilet paper, and hearing about it is just as awesome.
I could watch a video of it. However, hearing about it is definitely second best.
Video is really bad, but hearing about it is
Just
awesome.
a picture of this ding dong doing what he says he does, and that's almost as good. I just called a potential show guest a ding dong. Let me take that back.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, so do a show like that, and I'll.
Oh man.
That would be a good
that
one.
would be fun to host.
Or maybe you guys could think of something really strange and pretend to have the addiction, and then
John, we're not the actors here. It's you, buddy.
We would completely foul that up. We can't follow a script for our life.
But we try.
We should fail miserably.
Your ad-libbing life, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's all we
Right.
are. We
ad-lib.
We work well under pressure.
That's usually when we look at each other and go, what now?
I don't ad-lib well, but I do mad-libs, if that counts.
You mad-lib?
Oh, I haven't mad-libbed in years.
We'll have to start a club.
Mad-lib
Facebook
club.
page, Mad Lib Club, here we come.
Right. Get your nouns and adverbs ready.
My favorite's the adjectives.
You're just giving me more and more ideas. I'm going to have a call-in show where we do Mad Libs on the air.
Oh my gosh.
That would be awesome.
I love it. I mean,
Oh
seriously,
my gosh.
if any of you would not just totally dig this, I don't know, it's something wrong.
Okay, the next caller, we need a noun. Somebody call in, we need a noun.
A good one.
A good noun. You know, people are creative. That could go all day.
Oh man, well can you imagine that chat? That'd be awesome.
We're laughing, but I'm totally going to do that.
We'll be there.
We'll be there for sure. My noun will come through with flying colors. I'm going to prepare for this noun moment for weeks until you air the show.
If there's any lulls where people don't have words, I'm going to have a psychic co-host the show with me so they can just predict the next word in case it doesn't happen.
Ooh.
You know?
Hey.
Now that's stinking. I know, there's a twist.
Twist.
Well, that backup plan that you have to have that you were talking about earlier.
That backup plan,
Backup plan, right. Doesn't work if you don't have power, but, you know.
Right. That's true.
What?
You're forgiven. You're forgiven for not having power.
He didn't forgive me, but we'll see.
Right. So you were going on to like 3 movies now. We didn't hear about the last one.
We didn't?
There's actually 2.
I thought it was only 2.
Oh, what was the last one you were talking about? Just Mad Lib moments.
She's like, give me a noun.
That's my new movie, yeah. Give me a noun. That'll be on
Give me a noun.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, okay, so we're going to go back. See, I told you we go off in tangent really easy.
Poor Kim. He tries to keep us in line. It's just, he throws his hands up in the air after a while.
Yeah, he does. He gets on Facebook, scroll.
Poor guy.
All right, so we're going to recap all the stuff that we've talked about. So you have your Glory Haunts Hounds, which is fabulously named.
That just makes
Great backstory, by the way.
Backstory makes it better.
Backstory's awesome. You have some events, you have some movies, and tell us all about that one more time. Run it through one more.
So I guess to recap, so the Glory Hounds, which is paranormally themed and historically themed events, by pretty much every month. 2 in October. We've got one in July, 1 in August, 1 in September, 2 in October. That'll finish off our year for the events. We've got I've got the 2 radio shows, the John Tobin Show and Keeping the Spirits Alive. I've got 2 movies, Surviving Evidence and A Grim Becoming. And I also got some great lectures coming up. I'm lecturing at Rolling Hills Asylum August 24th, and I'm lecturing at the Spooktacular Expo in October 19th and 20th. That goes along with a couple of investigations out there as well. for that. And I don't know. I'm sure there's some other stuff I'm forgetting, but you know.
That's okay. That's okay. You can always go to your Facebook pages or the, what is it, gloryhaunthounds.com?
Gloryhaunthounds.com. Be careful typing that out. We're not the Glory Hole Hounds or anything like that.
Dangerous.
I've been called that before. You know, what are you guys, the Glory Hole Hounds? I'm like, what? No. That's a totally different thing.
Nice.
You know, we're gonna have to put together like the best of, you know, like the best of little like comments. We've got like, I think every show somebody goes there, you know, to that step beyond. It's awesome.
Well, we could go there the whole time, but people are, you know, out of respect for people, we don't.
I will say that if you go to that other website, they do events monthly too, but they're nothing like my events. I just say that.
Nothing like them. So definitely go to gloryhaunthounds.com.
Glory Haunt Hounds.
Right.
.com.
Just keep on watching. And you've got the Penhurst one recently coming up, the Victorian Mansion, and then what was that one that you were talking about? Refresh my memory. Sorry about that. The one where you're doing the historical one.
Yeah, the Brookside Museum, which is in Ballston Spa, New York. It's the second annual fundraiser we've done for them. They are the Saratoga County Historical Society. So you guys ever heard of the Saratoga Racetrack, which is very famous, horse racing track? They're in New York. It's near there. They run the that county's historical society, and it's going to be a great night. That's July 20th. August 17th is Penhurst Asylum. September 14th is the Victorian Mansion, and I'll just mention our Halloween party. There's an event October 5th, but we're not announcing that just yet, and it'll tie into something we talked about earlier, perhaps. But you'll have to look at my Facebook stuff for that. But October 26th is our Halloween party. That's going to be at the Irish Mist Paranormal Research Center we talked about earlier, and that's going to be with my friends John Tenney and David Roundtree and Tracy Ray. They're going to be joining us for our Halloween party this year, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Oh,
that
sounds
be awesome.
I kind of wish
parties.
I kind of wish I lived back east somewhere.
There's a lot more to do.
I know. There really is.
A lot more to do.
There really is, and there's a whole lot of awesome people back there. Not saying that there aren't awesome people, you know, back in the west of the U.S. of A.
We love you, family and friends.
But I mean, you guys, back east, you guys have it going on over there.
Man.
Well, you know, we try to keep the fun stuff happening, and you know, there is a lot of cool stuff up in the Northeast. I think that's why I always stayed in the Northeast. You know, I'm originally from Massachusetts, but in New York, I'm one state over, and you know, I almost actually moved a few years ago. My life would have changed dramatically, but I almost moved to New Mexico a few years back when my job moved down there, and I always tell people, I said I ended up not moving because I realized how much I like the Four Seasons, and then someone asked me one time, what does Frankie Valley have to do with you moving to New Mexico? But they didn't.
I like the Four Seasons,
but I actually like the actual change of seasons, for anyone that was maybe confused by that statement. So.
Oh, jeez. Well, we're glad you didn't move, because I'm sure we wouldn't be here now. We wouldn't be talking to you.
It would be a whole different, because, well, maybe you would have brought more to the western stuff, you know.
Who knows what would have happened? But I'm glad, you know, that didn't happen. So I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
well, you're bringing a lot to the paranormal world. I like it.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm just trying to do I'm trying to do the things that I feel are the right things to do, and hopefully, if nothing else, people learn a little bit about history and a little bit about the paranormal, and if I maybe can influence a few other people to try to do some of these things and help their communities and historical places, awesome. That's what it's all about for me, and that's the message I'm trying to send. Hopefully, people get it.
Right. Well, and you're following your passion, which is huge. You hear these people, hear people that have these dreams and they don't follow them because of life gets in the way, or schooling, or whatever gets in the way, and they don't follow their dreams. And you're doing it. You're following the dreams and helping pave the path and showing other people in the field, hey, keep going for it and follow your dreams. And then, along with preserving history, I think it's a great thing.
I do too.
Well, thanks so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that, and for many years I did that very thing. I held myself back. I didn't do it. I didn't think that I could ever make an impact on anything, and I was very down on myself. And I was a different person just not that long ago. Clearly I was very involved in the paranormal, but on a very smaller scale. And in a different way, but you know, it's been working out, and it's been a very positive experience for me, and you know, I just hope, like I said, I just hope that I can keep doing it for a while, and you know, what else is there to say other than really that's what it's all about for me, and I love it when people come up to me after an event, or you know, meet so many great people, and they come up to you and say, you know, I really like the fact that you gave us this story, or you brought us to this place. I never would have come here. Or even better, when the director of a museum calls me up or sends me an email and says, hey, we had people come out today that went to the event 2 months ago, and then they came out today just to see the museum. And you know what I mean? I'm like, that's what really makes me feel good.
Wow.
That's the whole point. People are going to go back and visit these places that are great, that are these great historic museums and historical societies on their own without the paranormal being involved. Then I know that they really got something out of it. And that's really, you know, it only has to be, it doesn't have to be everybody, because it's never going to be everybody, but one or two people get something out of each event that they didn't think that they were going to know or have an appreciation for. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And, you know, like you were saying, just following yourself, your passion, and just doing something that you really believe in. And, I mean, you also need supportive surroundings, too.
Oh, God.
You know, you need those supportive people in your life that you have directly affected by it.
Right.
So it's always nice. And you mentioned your wife, Kathy. This isn't you know, this is Kathy WWPN.
Other than I did name my son after John Tobin.
Wait, Kathy, we're married? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Surprise.
Kathy's actually my girlfriend. She would just, we don't want to jump to conclusions here, you know. But,
I see.
She really is, you know, she's really, I have to say, you know, it's easy to say I'm doing this on my own, but it's so far from the truth. She's really the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. She gives me the strength to do everything that I do, and even though she may be the first person to say, oh my God, you're doing too many things, I never see you, you're too busy, you're doing this and that and the other, and when are you going to have some John time and Kathy time, you know, she really is the support that's behind all of this stuff. So she may be behind the scenes, but she gives me the drive and the passion to do pretty much everything I do in life. So I got to give her 100% credit for that.
Yeah, she's really awesome. I mean, I don't think that she's behind the scenes as much as you think she is. She maybe doesn't talk out loud or anything, but I even knew who she was, you know? Everybody knows who she is. I'm like, I knew her. I've heard of her. So I don't think she's as behind the scenes as she thinks she is.
Well, she tries to be, but, you know.
She just pops out there. Great people come out of the woodwork.
That's right.
That's for sure. Well, I'm like really... This has been so much fun, John.
This has been awesome. I loved it.
It's been a lot of fun. I like talking about all different things paranormal, you know.
Well, and then the different spin on it, where, you know, because we've always talked about how the history, how important it is, because we're basically, you know, our ground is in, I guess, paranormal investigating.
Right.
And a lot of people don't really understand how huge the history is and the research that you have to do.
Oh, the research.
And then once you find it, it is so amazing how you can tie things together.
It's just the searching that sucks.
Yeah, the searching is a little bit tough.
I hate
It's a lot of work, but, you know, it makes the overall experience, I think, more rewarding, even for the researcher. So
it really does.
Right.
Put aside the people we bring onto these events. Just as a paranormal researcher, when I go out and do investigating independently or just with my team into different locations, when you've done the research, you know a lot of things. It can give you a whole different outlook on what you find. You know what I mean?
Right.
It brings a deeper appreciation for it than other than then it's not just a random EVP or a random weird picture. You can kind of start putting pieces of a story back together. You know? So that's what we try to do.
Yeah, and that is to me the most awesome,
just
amazing thing, because the depth of the story, the depth
once
of
you
the
find
person.
it after searching for hours and days and days and days. And I hate that. But once you find it, it's like, yay, gold mine!
And then it just gets you on a trail to more amazing things where you're like, oh my heck. And then you start saying there are no coincidences, because you find things that just continue this chain of events, and you're just like, wow.
Then it's fascinating.
Absolutely. I love that. It's amazing. So thank you for bringing attention to the historical side of both the paranormal and just life in general and how important it is.
Oh, so important. So important.
Well, thank you, yeah.
We definitely appreciate it. Love it. All right, so we've got what 3 minutes left. Kim keeps saying 3, 3, 3, 3. So
he's keeping us on track.
We're gonna keep up with the theme of tonight of being on time.
It only happens once.
It only happens once a lifetime. So we're gonna just, John, thank you so much for having us on, and we're definitely gonna continue watching your events and listening to your shows.
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
It's awesome. So again, like I said, thank you so much for being on with us tonight. It was too much fun.
I had a blast, and we'll definitely be in touch. Thanks, guys. You guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate you having me on.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, you have a good night, John.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
Bye. He's so much fun.
He's awesome.
He has so much information.
He does. I mean, and he's got a great sense of humor.
Just touched it.
I know.
Yeah, great sense of humor. Funny.
Absolutely.
Funny.
Exciting stuff. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna keep watching him, and we're gonna just continue to keep plugging him. Love it.
Right.
Good stuff.
Love it. So, Cammie.
Yes.
We have a full rest of this month.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff.
Next month.
Mm-hmm.
Who's coming on next week?
Next week, we have the amazing, beautiful, and fabulous Serenity Moore. If you guys don't know her, come out from under the rock that you've been living in and find out who she is. She is an amazing woman. Amazing woman. I had the pleasure of meeting her over the weekend, and she just blew my mind. She is a paranormal investigator. She is a radio personality. She does events. She just travels all over the place, and she's a psychic medium who happens to be very impressive, and I experienced it for myself.
Did you really?
Yes, I did, and it was just phenomenal. She's amazing. So Serenity Moore next week. Can't wait. Beautiful woman. Oodles of stuff to say. This one's got things to say. She's got a lot of stuff to talk about.
That's exciting.
It is. It's very exciting. We've got a full lineup for gals. As far as the eye can see, I'm excited. Show's getting bigger. Show's getting better. And we want to thank you guys for watching. You guys have made it all happen. Thanks for coming back every week. And thanks for watching the shows that we've got on our archives. And for just being here. I love it.
That's right.
I love it. So until next week, you guys, you remember, we are not alone.